the good guy always wins in the end because the book would be unreadable. Okay, the movie would be unwatchable. History would be unreadable. Okay, it'd all be worth nothing, bupkis, if the evildoers leading us into oblivion over a cliff to our death and destruction, with just gobs and gobs of misery in between, artificial, invented misery, okay, inorganic misery, unnatural misery that they're fomenting in the land. And it's done with the money. Okay, haves and have nots, man. I mean, this is it. The story of my life, my entire generation. I've witnessed it since they murdered JFK. Okay, I mean, come on. Like George Norrie says, there are no coincidences. Okay, not to this degree. I mean, when you look at Cui Bono, I mean, the fact, look it up for yourself, read history. Executive Order 11,110. I mean, it's easy to remember because there's so many ones in it. 11,110. Look it up, Executive Order. JFK was abolishing the Federal Reserve Bank. He was serious. He meant business, okay? He had already supplanted Federal Reserve notes. We didn't need them for anything anymore. Okay, we already had silver notes, silver certificates in circulation, the new dollar in America. So, I mean, this whole idea of, who benefits, I mean, come on. People will say, well, there was a lot of people, they wanted to get that war started and this and that, and, he had other enemies. Hey, listen, come on. Don't play stupid. Okay, do you think you need a bigger, I mean, if Colombo, okay, what's motive numero uno, okay? How come they're still in existence? And we're not talking about a hint or, yeah, likely impropriety. We're talking about freaking glaring, like, what in the hell? Why in the hell does the Federal Reserve still exist? And yet we all, just like lemmings, like sheep to the slaughter, we just go along with accept this paradigm. I mean, people just accept their cost of living tax going up in perpetuity, coin clipping, or in this case, currency clipping, dollar clipping, okay? Currency debasement, look it up. Look up coin clipping and how that's a perfect analogy for currency clipping, what they're doing. They're destroying the worth. It's deworthment. Debasement of currency is deworthment. Okay? I mean, we bandy about all these terms like cost, price, worth, value, and it tends to obfuscate what's really going on here, the underlying underpinning causes for the misery in our land. And remember, I'm talking about all the vices and the forms of escapism that people engage in. All of us. I mean, we're only human. We want to metaphorically slash our wrists somehow. We want to find some form of escapism, get our rocks off somehow. We've got to, blow off steam. That's it. Because we don't feel like we have a lot of control over our reality. And that's reasonable. I mean, it's true. We don't. And so it drives us, it propels it compels us to go out and to fight the good fight in whatever way God empowers us to do that. Okay? And we know we just can't accept the status quo because they're leading us into oblivion. I mean, this is Zimbabwe in slow motion. How is it better that this thing didn't happen fast? God knows, I wish it did. That's why. Oh, I still have a lot of pain in my back. Cough, it hurts. But look, like the bandage analogy, you just rip it off, okay? But this slow motion thing, and people thinking this is better, and people talking about how we're going to have hyperinflation, all these prophets, predictors. We got Max Kaiser predicts, the dollar's not going to be the world reserve, is going to lose all. No, I mean, it's been steadily. He knows that. Losing the idea that you think the Federal Reserve wants to rock the boat. I mean, they're the ones that are, they're the glue keeping this fabric of madness together. They don't want to lose it. It's national debt. They don't ever want that repaid. They want to increase that. I mean, that brings great glee to these people. That's their bread and butter for God knows, and their children. It's going to be hereditary wealth passed on to these monster-like people. Okay, so yeah, they want to keep it. Can you imagine the unfathomable power of the money printing operation? What do these people do? I mean, if we had to go back to the bartering system, what do you accept? We're going to accept this these, no, we'll take gold or silver or something to, wampum, some sort. But we're sure as heck not taking your stupid money that you just print out. I mean, how stupid would we be to just turn ourselves over as slaves to you people? I mean, your time the day of reckoning's coming. It's going to happen at the hand of the Lord empowering people at the right time in history. It's going to be at the hand of God that allows us to overcome these evil people. But it's not through hatred. It's just through demanding that justice prevail in the land, that the captives be set free. That's what it comes down to, is freedom. Complete, absolute freedom. Okay, that's unequivocal. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So, well, yeah, but free except for financially. No, we all get to keep. No, 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 no. That's it. You understand? That's why we've got to embrace this idea of logical thinking that the earth belongs to everybody, rightfully. That yes, that's where we got to wean ourselves off their heroin, their junk, the money. You understand, the fiat currency, and they've just been dragging us the opposite way my whole life, for decades, 55 years since the assassination of JFK almost. And we've just been going, and people barely talk about this very recent history and about revisiting, what the paradigm in America would look like socially, politically, and economically speaking in America today if JFK had gotten his way. Do you understand? But apparently it wasn't the right time in history, or otherwise God would have allowed it, demanded it. But there is that time when it's going to happen, and these people will kick and scream, and they're just a lot of them are going to lose it. I mean, those that the gods would destroy, they first make mad. And these people, you get your Phil Mudds out there saying, well, these black hats and these high-ranking law enforcement agencies just saying horrendous, threatening things to the president, and they're not being arrested. I mean, they might be being investigated by the Secret Service. But I mean, can you imagine the gall of these people in these high-ranking law enforcement agencies talking about, murdering the rightfully elected president, head of the United States? I mean, the most powerful nation on earth. I mean, this is biblical level manipulation of the masses. Do you understand? It's madness, and it plays on us psychologically. And the guys with the high profile and prominence of Robert De Niro get out there. I mean, God, I understand why people are outraged. They just want to lash. Yeah, let's go to fisticuffs. I mean, yes, I understand. I'm not going to play stupid here. I get why people want to go to war. And there's a lot of talk about that's what's trying to be fomented as a civil war. And then Michael Moore admits, well, the liberals would have a huge disadvantage because so many of the conservatives are gun owners. But the conservatives aren't going to be starting to fight. They're not conservatives. They're not righteous people. The last thing you want to, take a licking and keep on ticking. I mean, this is the price that you pay. If you're the righteous, that's it, man. You've got to be the downtrodden. You've got to be the one that, hey, look, you took like Popeye, you know what I mean? You take all you can take and you can't take no more. So you got to give a lot of slack. You got to show a lot of grace, reflect that same grace that God has given you, that amazing grace, in dealing with your adversary, your enemy, your nemesis, your foe, okay, whoever you believe that to be. But, the main gist to take away here of all this pontificating today is just understanding the forces, the very powerful forces that are still in charge, and what their tool is, what their weapon is, what their implement is against humanity is the control of the money, the purse strings. And we live in a lot of fear, and they can turn that fear gauge anytime they want by increasing our cost of living tax and slicing more of our currency. And just saying, look, you're going, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? They're forcing the hand of the righteous to, like myself. I mean, I'm nothing special. I'm just a regular human being. That's all. I'm happy. I'm content with being a nobody. But we're all somebody. We're all incredible. We're God's treasure, each one of us. That's the attitude we should have toward one another, that we're fellow gods. That's what Jesus even talked about this. I mean, if we had that spirit toward each other, do you think we would be talking to each other the way we do? Or even thinking about each other the way we do? In order for our thinking to be right, we've got to turn to God to help us adjust it anytime. We've got to always say, God, I got to stop this stinking thinking about my enemy. It's making me nuts. It's raising my blood pressure, my adrenaline. I think I'm addicted to it. this rage, being a rageaholic and all that. You see Alex Jones and imbibing that rage a lot. And I get it. I mean, he's really blowing off some major steam, but is he letting the dog off the leash too far to the point of speaking in a condemnational manner toward the evildoers? And that's where I draw the line. I said, that's where we've got to say, look, you could be 100% right, but I expect you to correct me when I go overboard and I let my dog too far off the leash. And then I've got to correct him or anybody else. We've got to get together and reflect God and be a good representative of God as best as we honestly can. Okay, it comes down to honesty, intellectual honesty about saying, yes, I'm doing my damnedest. I want to be a good servant. I want to be God's friend. I want to be a good guy. I want to inherit a better world. I want eternal life in paradise. I want all those things that are promised in Scripture. Okay, and knowing that God can't be a liar. So all I need is a little tiny bit of faith of a mustard seed, and I got it. I'm in there. But I've got to reject the ways of this world. I've got to run, not walk away from these evil people, and I've got to instead expose them. And so I'm walking this great paradox. I'm unhappy in this world. Like Jesus said, that's okay, that's good. He said you must hate your life in this world to have eternal life. What in the hell is he saying there? That is a big fat paradox. Yet we're the ones that are supposed to be happy, like Jesus said. Consider the lilies. They neither labor nor spin, but Solomon in all his glory couldn't compare to one of these. The beauty of a lily in the field. Right, God created that. He gave us the ability to appreciate beauty. It's all very cosmic and awesome, and we're a part of this forever, and he loves us. It does give me goosebumps thinking about how much we're loved. All of us. We're the treasure, and we've got to even think of our enemies as the treasure. Jesus made that clear. He made no bones about it. He didn't equivocate. He made it very clear. He went hyperbolic on this issue, okay, about this loving your enemies thing and the power therein. Do you understand? I mean, if you're real and you really understand the heart and mind of God, then you'll understand, his purposes here, because he wants the love of the evildoers. That's how good God is. That's how patient, restrained, and what a big fat teddy bear he is. Okay, to talk about a gentle giant, the creator of the universe and all that is contained therein. So, the shepherd, the 99 sheep are obedient. If one wanders off, he goes after that one. He never leaves it alone. And that should be our attitude toward reaching these people and affecting change in our land. It's powerful. And when God says the time is right in history, then that's it. And a lot of people believe we're at the brink, we're at the precipice. And it's just all ready to reach a crescendo. And it's been building and building for a long, long time. And like Isaac Newton said, there's science behind this, which made the ripple effect, cause and effect. Okay, for every action, there's an equal, though opposite reaction. And there's evil has been prevailing in our land for a long, long time. I mean, socially, politically, and economically speaking, let's just say there was a reset in history. Let's just go back and just pick a time at random, no special time. Let's go back to 1960. Okay, when minimum wage was X, let's say we got the Labor Department, we were getting some of these departments at that, I don't know when the Labor Department was established, but their idea was to decide an ethical, moral wage, basic wage for people that was based on the CPI, the cost price index, the cost of living, tax. Okay, those things we all had to pay. Energy needs, food, potable water, and housing. You understand? At least those basic commodities, that market basket of goods, would be calculated. And so we had a fair price from that point. Well, do you see how this thing has worked for 55 years? Okay, the Labor Department's been utterly remiss, utterly immoral, utterly unethical, profoundly remiss at doing their job. And that's by design. That's on purpose. That's how you steal the wealth from the lower end, okay? So that those that are in the middle class, as long as you keep an upper class, you keep a critical mass of those in positions of power, and they can keep manipulating things in that trajectory. Currency debasement, they go along with it. Why do the rich and the middle class so often go along with it? Because they figure, hey, look, I'm benefiting. So even though They're cutting the worth of your currency, and you all know that. You rich and you middle class, upper middle class, all know that. You go along with the program. You don't want to rock the boat because so far so good. It's been working in your favor. You understand? But the wreckage that's being caused, I mean, the division in our land, this classism, I mean, forget the racism. This picks on everybody across the board. It's indiscriminate. And these people know it. They want us divided. And they want us to believe it's from some cause that it's not. They don't want us to focus on who it really is at the top of this thing, creating the policies we have to live under. It's these high ranking top politicians that legitimize the criminality that's being foisted, perpetrated against the people of America, and by extension, the rest of the world, because the rest of the world is affected because we are the world reserve currency. So if our currency is unsound and progressively getting less and less